Welcome to Nurse Day Special, the extraordinary lives of famous nurses. Today we honor the incredible men and women who dedicate their lives to caring for others. Join us as we pay tribute to the remarkable profession of nursing by exploring the inspiring stories of two most influential nurses in history. Our journey begins with Florence Nightingale, known as the Lady with the Lamp, who was a British nurse, social reformer, and a statistician best known as the founder of modern nursing. Florence Nightingale was born on 12 May 1820 into a wealthy and well-connected British family in Florence, Italy. Florence and her older sister Parthenope benefited from their father's advanced ideas about women's education. They studied history, mathematics, Italian, classical literature, and philosophy. From a very young age, Florence Nightingale was active in ministering to ill and poor people in the village neighboring her family's estate. By the time she was 16 years old, it was clear to her that nursing was her calling. But when she approached her parents and told them about it, they forbade her to pursue nursing. During the Victorian era, a young lady of her social stature was expected to marry a suitable man, not take up a job viewed as lowly menial labor by the upper social classes. Determined to pursue her dream despite her parents' objection, in 1844, Nightingale enrolled as a nursing student at the Lutheran Hospital of Pastor Flettner in Kaiserwerth, Germany. Florence Nightingale's most famous contribution came during the Crimean War. The British Empire was at war against the Russian Empire for control of the Ottoman Empire. She and a staff of 38 women volunteers were sent to the Ottoman Empire. Nightingale arrived at Selimiye Barracks in Scutari early in November 1854. Her team found poor care for wounded soldiers delivered by overworked medical staff in the face of official indifference. Medicine were in short supply, hygiene was being neglected, and mass infections such as typhoid and cholera were common. There was no equipment to process food for the patients. At first, the army doctor didn't want her or the other nurses to help. They saw Nightingale's opinions as a tag on their professionalism. It wasn't until the doctors became overwhelmed by bodies when they asked for assistance. Nightingale quickly set to work. She procured hundreds of scrub brushes and asked the least infirm patients to scrub the inside of the hospital from floor to ceiling. Nightingale herself spent every waking minute caring for the soldiers. In the evening, she moved through the dark hallway carrying a lamp while marking her rounds, which gave her the nickname the Lady with the Lamp. Her work reduced the hospital's death rate by 2/3. Overall, they were able to improve medical and sanitary arrangements, set up food kitchens, wash linens and clothes, write letters home on behalf of the soldiers, and institute a classroom and library for patients' intellectual stimulation and entertainment. After a year and a half, she left Scutari for her childhood home as Lierst. To her surprise, she was met with a hero's welcome. The Queen rewarded Nightingale's work by presenting her with an engraved brooch that came to be known as the Nightingale Jewel, and by granting her a prize of $250,000 from the British government. In 1860, Nightingale founded the world's first nursing school at St. Thomas Hospital in London. Within the hospital, the Nightingale Training School for Nurses was established. Florence trained many nurses who were sent to hospitals around Britain to share Nightingale's expertise. Thanks to Nightingale, nursing was no longer frowned upon by the upper classes. It had in fact come to be viewed as an honorable vocation. While at the Scutari, Nightingale had contracted Crimean fever and would never fully recover. By the time she was 38 years old, she was homebound and bedridden. But determined and dedicated as ever to improve healthcare, she continued her work from her bed. Florence Nightingale died peacefully in her sleep in her room at Mayfair, London on 13 August 1910 at the age of 90. She had expressed the desire that her funeral be a quiet and modest affair, so the Lady with the Lamp was laid to rest in Hampshire, England. As we continue our journey through the remarkable lives of nursing legends, let us turn our attention to another extraordinary individual who made an indelible impact on the field. Clarissa Harlowe Barton was born on December 25, 1821, in North Oxford, Massachusetts, in a small farming community. When she was 3 years old, Barton was sent to school with her brother, where she reportedly excelled in reading and spelling, though she was painfully shy and timid. She first found her calling at age 11 when she tended to her brother David after he fell from a rafter of a bar. Barton's family directed their painfully shy daughter to become a teacher upon the recommendation of renowned phrenologist L.N. Fowler, who examined her as a girl. She began teaching at age 18 and served for 11 years in the schools. Barton led an effective redistricting campaign that allowed the children of workers to receive an education. After moving to New Jersey in 1851, she opened the state's first free public school in Bordentown. However, when Bordentown residents built a new schoolhouse in 1853, they decided to make a man the principal, at twice the salary of Barton, so she quit the school and teaching altogether, and moved to Washington, D.C. to work in the U.S. Patent Office as a clerk in the mid-1850s, with salary equal to those of the men she worked with, and also as the first woman appointed to such a post. On April 19, 1861, the Baltimore riots resulted in the first bloodshed of the American Civil War. The victims were transported after the violence to the unfinished Capitol building in Washington, D.C., where Barton lived at the time. Wanting to serve her country, Barton went to the railroad station and nursed the victims. She was shocked to discover that some of the men were her former students. This started a lifelong career of aiding people in times of conflict and disaster. In 1862, she received official permission to transport supplies to battlefield, and also tended to the wounded and became known as the Angel of the Battlefield. She was officially named head nurse for one of General Benjamin Butler's units in 1864, even though she had no formal medical trainings. She joined Francis Gage in helping to prepare formerly enslaved people for their lives in freedom. After the war, Barton helped locate missing soldiers and mark thousands of graves. She also testified in Congress about her wartime experience. In 1869, Barton traveled through Europe to regain her health. While in Switzerland, she learned about the International Red Cross established in Geneva in 1864. Returning to the U.S., Barton built support for the creation of an American Society of Red Cross by writing pamphlets, lecturing, and meeting with presidents. On May 21, 1881, the American Association of Red Cross was formed. Barton was elected president in June. In 1882, the U.S. joined the International Red Cross. Barton resigned from the American Red Cross in 1904. In 1905, Barton established the National First Aid Association of America, which developed first aid kits and taught basic first aid instruction and emergency. She continued to live in her Maryland home, which also served as the Red Cross headquarters upon her arrival at the house in 1897. Barton published her autobiography in 1908 titled The Story of My Childhood. On April 12, 1912, she died in her home at the age of 90 because of pneumonia.